that you have to connect yourself with all others. What Dr. Balaram Singh said, connect with each other. This is very important. Take away message, I think, Dr. Vasutosh. Knowledge is coming from rishis to everyone, from father to mother. It is not the age, it is the only knowledge which is important. So thank you very much. So now the last presentation is the online presentation. Is he there? Dr. Dr. Jerry Solfin is a distinguished professor in the Center of Indic Studies at the University of Massachusetts, Dartmouth. His current research focuses on PSI dimensions of expectancy and placebo effect. He is particularly interested in consciousness studies, parapsychology, the intersection of science and spirituality, meditation, attention and intention. Very interesting. His areas of focus includes designing and analyzing human research, especially on mind-body issues such as health and healing. With this brief introduction, I invite Dr. Jeffrey to speak.
Jerry, can you hear us? He's on, right? Yeah, he was there in the starting hall. Jerry, your video is not on. Can you say something? Too early, I guess. Your video is not on. Oh, okay. Are you up? Okay. Okay. Okay, you can just re-log in. Re-log in, yeah. You can re-log in maybe. Yeah, just restart not the camera and the thing, but just re-log in the link. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. You can re-log in, maybe your computer will restart. You want me to put you on phone? Yeah. So you're on. Okay, you're on the phone.
Oh, can you hear me?
Yep.
Okay, good. Well, thank you so much for, I want to thank Dr. Raj Kumar and Professor Balaram Singh and the other organizers of this symposium. I'm a bit out of my element here because I am neither a Vedic scholar nor a biologist, despite my strong interest in both these fields. Hang on, I'm getting feedback from...
In the meantime, we are declaring you to be Vedic scholar, because Vedic means knowledge, and you have a biological system, so you are a biologist.
Yes. Oh, but thank you. Okay. So I think this is better. I just turned off my audio. No, my mic on my speakers. So I was getting feedback. I'm starting to get feedback. I'm hearing you on my screen. I'm hearing myself.
Okay.
But that stopped. So I'm going to continue reading.
Yep.
Just make sure, just let me know that you're hearing me okay.
Yes? Yeah, we are hearing you. Okay.
Okay, great. I'll continue. Okay, so let's see. I'll need to start with. I want to start by saying that I have a strong interest in this area of cognitive biology, which I call the intelligence of life. I hope to show you the connections between my research and cognitive biology and Vedic wisdom. I am a mathematician, a social scientist, and I'm most closely associated with the scientific field of parapsychology. I have a strong interest in a number of other areas, as Professor Singh has pointed out. I am concerned about the scientific field of parapsychology. There's a long history of terminological dysfunction. That is, we don't have, after over 100 years of active work, we don't have a proper taxonomy. We don't have definitions, and we have some issues with our methodology as well. These are fundamental things for a scientific field. Many other scientific fields, new ones, for example, have similar sorts of problems, but as a scientific field develops, it develops and settles in on a taxonomy. So I'm concerned that the field of parapsychology is right now, in my opinion, stagnated, and I believe that it is in part due to this lack of foundation. So that's my concern, and that's why this paper, I'm writing this paper. Now, I'm hopeful that some of what I say will be of interest to scholars in other fields, related fields, in cognitive biology, for example. Because I am a methodologist, and that's kind of a warning to you for listening to my talk, particularly without the PowerPoint in front of you. But the warning is that I don't have answers to your questions, nor am I particularly interested in the answers to questions. As most theorists and most scientists shoot for giving a theory, giving an answer to some deep questions of how this works, or what is the nature of reality. Large questions, small questions, but answers are what seems to be a central feature for what we go for. I am a methodologist, and that means that I am the spotlight holder. I can guide people to find answers to the question of where to go and where not to go, to look for them, but I won't open the door. That is for the theorists and for those who answer questions. I am interested in the questions and how to find out about them. So that means that my talk will be boring to a number of people because you're used to or interested in other sorts of things. But I hope you'll stay with me on this because I think I have some issues to talk about that may be of interest to you. So I'm going to begin by talking about parapsychology and how we got to this terminological dysfunction. It started from the beginning. In 1882, the founding of the Society for Psychical Research in London marks the official beginning of parapsychology. It was founded by a group of distinguished scholars and scientists, many of them quite accomplished, a number of Nobel Prize winners for that at that time. The mission of the SPR was to investigate and understand phenomena that appeared to defy conventional scientific explanation. Its primary goal was to examine reports of psychic and paranormal occurrences, such as telepathy, clairvoyance, spiritualism, apparitions, and other related experiences. However, there was little agreement right from the beginning on what these particular experiences are, how they were defined, and how to create a taxonomy of them, and how to study them. So, for example, one of the key members, one of the founding members, the first president, I believe, believed these phenomena were essential for the study or understanding of the possibility of afterlife, that is, survival of bodily death. And he believed that because these experiences, especially telepathy, demonstrated information exchange beyond the physical senses. Another one of the founding members, F.W.H. Myers, viewed afterlife question as a priority. However, he saw it quite differently. He said, before we can look at the survival question, we must look at living people. That is, the problem of mind and body in human beings. I'll say more about him in just a minute. French Nobel laureate physiologist Charles Richet was another one of the members, and he believed something quite different. He said, what we're doing is a science which reveals unknown powers latent in human intelligence. The SPO worked on this through committees, and they looked at telepathy, mesmerism, kinetic, physical phenomena that was observed in trance mediums, and during seances and ghosts and hauntings. And one of the features of this work was a good deal of it had to do with ferreting out the wheat from the shaft, so to speak, ferreting out those that were misperceptions. Those were the biases of thinking, unclear thinking. Also, there was a good deal of fraud involved with this. So there were mediums who fraudulently pretended to have foreknowledge or etc. So that had to be worked with and ferreted out before you could study the real stuff. The SPR worked through topical committees, and one of the early studies, I'll just mention one, because I'm focused here on the terminology issues, but I want to give you some idea of their work. One of their large-scale projects was the Census of Hallucinations. In 1889 through 1892, a large-scale survey was conducted in Great Britain and elsewhere, with 17,000 respondents. This was to systematically investigate the frequency and nature of hallucinations in the general population. The study found that such experiences are more widespread than was previously thought. That is, there were about 10% of the respondents endorsed having had such an apparitions suggestive of telepathy, such as an apparition of a person who you later find out has died or was in some sort of crisis situation, which you had an apparition of at about the same time as they were dying or having that apparition. Now, F.W.H. Myers' work on postmortem survival stands out even today, more than a century later. Myers argued that we must first understand the capacities and limitations of embodied consciousness. Myers was asking, is consciousness, like matter, a primary and fundamental characteristic of nature? Or is it secondary, emergent, epiphenomenal, derivative of nature? So this is where one point where physical, psychical research, parapsychology intersect with cognitive biology and with Vedic wisdom. Myers postulated a subliminal self, or a consciousness, subliminal consciousness, which explained in his mind, in his theory, certain living human characteristics or abilities, which the human would carry on and continue having after death. Myers' research on subliminal consciousness led to the first systematic attempt in parapsychology to build a taxonomy of human anomalous experiences. These included things like telepathy, of course, automatisms, automatic writing, for example, trance states, such as mediumistic trances, apparitions, hypnotic states, multiple personality, genius, and creativity. All of these, he said, were due to this subliminal consciousness, subliminal self. Now, this is a point where it reminds me of the Vedic concept of the 5 koshas, the pancha koshas. The koshas, or sheaths, are coverings, so to speak, which hide the eternal Atman. I would assume that Myers was speaking about his subliminal consciousness as that Vedic Atman. Access to it is obscured by physical needs, food, vital energy, prana, mind and senses, mana, knowledge, vijnana, or ananda, bliss. What is interesting is that it would be a great project to further study the relationship between Western thinking, such as Myers' theory from 1882, and adjudicate that with the wisdom of Vedic, of the Vedas. Now, I want to move on from that to complete that by saying that thus the Society for Psychical Research had much, much more research. I'm just wanting to focus on the terminology issues. But we can say that they did come up with a basic taxonomy through Myers of anomalous experience. And that was a step in the right direction of coming up with a taxonomy. So, next, we want to look at the Duke Parapsychology Laboratory, which was the next big thing. It was a new era in the field of parapsychology. It was the beginning of modern parapsychology, meaning that the SPR had studied things by observation, by logic. They did some experimentation mainly it was making observations and collecting survey data. J.B. Rhine envisioned parapsychology, that was a new name for it, developed the Duke University Parapsychology Laboratory and viewed this area as being an experimental science. He focused upon unexplained forms of information exchange, such as telepathy, mind-to-mind, clairvoyance, event to mind, and precognition, future to mind. And he called these three extrasensory perception, or ESP. Rhine utilized playing cards, like casino cards, with symbols on them instead of numbers, and used these as stimuli, when having one person in one room being a sender, and he would shuffle a deck of these symbol cards, or Zener cards as they were called, and shuffle and pick one randomly, and it would look at it, and while he was doing that, in another location, isolated from him, he would there would be another person, a receiver, who would attempt at that same time to guess by telepathy what the sender was seeing. So that was basically the setup for doing many studies, studying over and over and over. In this way, Rhine was able to falsify the various hypotheses people had about telepathy or presumed telepathy, which people had talked about or suspected or reported for many years before that. These were falsified, such as sensory cueing, that is, you actually know in some physical way, using your senses, the answer to the question. Maintaining that was a rival hypothesis was chance or coincidence, and coincidence was dealt with statistically. So if you got more correspondence between the sender and the receiver than was expected by chance, then you could eliminate coincidence as the problem, as the fundamental. If in the long run this happened over and over and over again. So the basic process was extremely simple, but it was effective. The problem here, and this is where I really want to focus in, the problem here was terminology. Rhine defined his clairvoyance, telepathy, precognition, and later when he added psychokinesis, mind over matter, that is, the ability to affect matter directly with thought or mind, these four were all defined negatively. And by that I mean the definition would be a negative definition saying it is the transfer of information for ESP without the senses. You had to exclude the sensory processes. Were not involved, and that was built into the definition. So it was in that way that we created negative definitions. Now these are problematic in ways that may not be obvious right from the start. But the problem is that, as Skelton wrote, negative because in the xenocore experiments, one falsifies all of the sensory normal processes, usual explanations. You falsify all of those, and you still have a statistically significant result of that experiment. Well, does that mean that it's telepathy? No, no, no. Telepathy is just a word that is put in to explain it, but it doesn't explain it. Hubbleman says nothing is explained by making reference to a PK force, for example, or to telepathy, unless you know something about what a PK force or what telepathy is. If you just say, it's nothing, I've falsified all the usual explanations, so it must be telepathy. No, no, that doesn't work. This was made clear by the powerful American psychologist E.G. Boring, who was very impressed with Ryan's careful studies of the quality of his experimental work, and he championed J.B. Ryan's efforts. But he advised Ryan, right from the beginning, not to name this mysterious effect too quickly, such as not to name it telepathy or clairvoyance or whatever, because, quote, you have only found a very interesting correlation, and now you must investigate what that correlation is. So that, in essence, is the problem of the negative definition, and that situation still holds today. Let me summarize this. The parapsychology laboratories contribution was to give empirical evidence that something was going on in these experiments. You could run an experiment with telepathy, with xenocores or anything else, and there was quite a variety. It was always, not always xenocores, a variety of similar sorts of studies were conducted with different targets and different protocols. But you could say we can falsify everything that we might suspect is causing this, and still there's an effect at the end. Still there's an information transfer, and so that something is not defined, and it's not. So the first step is to affirm and find evidence that something is happening. But the next part is that you don't know what the something is. So let's study it.
Dr. Solvin, we have 5 more minutes, so I request you to kindly conclude. Okay.
Oh, okay. Thank you. So that, in essence, is what led to the situation with this, with the definitional problems. I want to move on and say something about taxonomy. So let's talk about taxonomy in science. According to Britannica, taxonomy is derived from taxis and nomos, meaning arrangement and law, and it means in the broad sense a science of classification. Most usually, actually, in most circumstances, when you use the word taxonomy, you're referring to a classical classification of living and extinct organisms, which is usually the Linnaean system of binomial nomenclature that was created by Swedish naturalist Carolus Linnaeus in the 1750s. So, according to Copilot, my partner here, when I'm writing papers, a good taxonomy is one of the quiet superpowers of science. It looks like a simple act of naming and sorting, but it actually shapes how scientists think, communicate, and discover. Taxonomy provides a shared language, reveals hidden patterns, guides hypotheses, and helps in the accumulation of knowledge, and it supports practical applications. Taxonomy has been essential to biology, and because it provides an organizational backbone that makes the study of life possible. Without it, scientists couldn't reliably identify species, compare organisms, track biodiversity, or build cumulative knowledge. So, taxonomy is extremely important, and parapsychologists don't have one. They don't have a taxonomy other than Myers' early taxonomy of anomalous experience, but even those do not have proper scientific definitions. So what is telepathy? Rhine offered definitions for experimental work, but they were negative. And that's kind of the case with other sorts of definitions that you might want to add to your taxonomy. So, in essence, I say we have this problem in parapsychology, and one of the solutions is to reframe it. And that's what my paper is about, but I'm not going to be able to get to the total reframe in the limited time available here. But I will say that the parapsychology needs to be reframed out of psychology. Parapsychology is linked to psychology, which is linked to experimental methods of physics and the physical scientists, because they admired them, basically, and wanted to have proof and have good science. And that was physics and chemistry and experimental methods and falsification and all that stuff. On the other hand, observational studies, which are important in biology, Darwin, for example, excellent example, is ignored primarily in parapsychology, although we have some of that, but it's ignored. So it seems like the placement of parapsychology within the sphere of psychology, modeling its methods on psychology, which models on reductionist physical experimental methods, might better be looked at from a living systems point of view. That is, if we position psi-phenomena, psychic phenomena, as being emergent properties of living systems. That is, they are not only human, but all living things. There's a process of life, and the process of life spins off, you might say, these anomalous experiences. So I think, am I out of time?
Yes, now you can conclude it, sir.
How much?
Time is over, already over. You can conclude.
Okay, Jerry, you can conclude.
Yeah, okay. The conclusion is basically that we need a taxonomy in parapsychology, but we've taken the wrong approach, in my opinion, to doing a taxonomy, because the taxonomy has been of the psychic experiences themselves, such as we ask, how does telepathy work? What is it? Let's have a theory about telepathy. Let's have a theory about cognition. Let's have a theory about precognition and clairvoyance and psychokinesis. However, it's been noticed with the rise of complex system science which is early recognized and embraced Stoic system science is to recognize that that the setting and not the individual. So this is hard to describe,
Okay.
but the taxonomy should be of the setting. In other words, a taxonomy of settings from which psi or psychic experiences tend to emerge. So, and I've developed that too, the settings. There are a number of settings from which parapsychological phenomena tend to emerge. And this extends across different sciences, different living organisms, going down to the very small ones, the micro and plus the superorganisms of humans as a group, humans in society, societal groupings of humans. So I hope some of that was understandable, and I hope this notion of a taxonomy is pressed in. That taxonomy is very, very important. Western science is far more important than we often realize.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you
very much for listening.
You have touched a very important issue that parapsychology should be reframed in the new taxonomical terms, because this is not known and it is the demand of time. So thank you very much. And I must say that this branch is not very much developed in the whole world, and we have to do a lot of work in parapsychology. I fully agree with you that it is the offshoot of psychology, but in the lack of taxonomical classification and terminology, we are not able to do it. So thank you very much.
Now you can go.
कैसे लगता है उसमें चिपक जाता है क्या?
हाँ मैग्नेट होता है. So please.
So thank you very much to all the three speakers who have given their wonderful talks. Now the session is open for question answer. Is there any question from the virtual group? Or from the house? I think all have understood. Please come. You can come here.
Sir, my question is from Bharatwaj, sir.
Sir,
what you mentioned about the formation of Earth and Sun, Moon. I am not able to understand the role of gravity in your explanation. What is the role of gravity in your view?
Actually, from here.
here, that's over here.
Actually, mass creates gravity. So Higgs had the ability to attract and create material, and that material mass creates gravity. And that gravitational and magnetic fields, basically it works on our body as well, because our minds are connected with the universal mind, which runs with gravitational magnetic fields. So the moon has got some kind of an effect, including the woman also has got that particular cycle, and the sea gets high tide, low tide. So once that high tide, low tide happens, it does affect your body as well, because there is 75-80% water here. It boils up and triggers certain components of your brain which swing your moods, because there are locations they deal with lust, anger, ego, attachment, deceit, fears and worries at different locations in our brain. So they get triggered and our moods will swing. So this is an area which works. So we say that since you acquired the mind from the universal mind, so the universal mind operates your mind. You don't. Because it is the karma theory which comes in. That due to those karmas which are there in the information system, and it affects whether in this lifetime or the next lifetime, because we say that the sanchit karma and then prarabdha karma, so that all goes on like this. So it's a huge big understanding, and even understanding the mind also is one of the areas, even in parapsychology, as the professor been talking from there. So it is all correlated if we understand the mind, because mind has got 4 layers and there are different frequencies at each level. And I think it is very clear that the Shabad, the sound, creates components, It has created material, it has created each component of your body, each organ of your body. So there was a scientist, he came from the Netherlands, and he been here in India for about 12 years, and he been understanding various meditational practices in the Himalayas. For 12 years he was here. So then he could understand that it is the Shabad, the Naad, which you can hear. It is an audible stream of life. Of course, to listen to that, generally we have got a frequency to understand about 20 hertz to 20,000 hertz. But if we want to hear higher and lower, we got to tune the whole thing through our attention within. Because you have got 2 basic senses in your body. One is seeing and listening. The other ones you have developed in the astral region. Smelling, tasting and touching is not there. Once you are meditating at a higher level, only 2 senses are working, seeing and listening. And nothing happens to that energy which is seeing and listening. Say for example, if you are seeing into the fire or there is a bomb blast, and you are seeing and listening it, nothing happens to you as a soul. But if you have developed senses further down to have this cognition at the level of the body and mind, so you have developed your smelling, tasting and touching here at the lower level. Whereas in deep meditation you are away and only 2 senses are working, seeing and listening. That's what is something wonderful to understand, that all those frequencies created everything. So this gentleman who came from Himalayas, he developed an equipment named Healy, and the next scientist developed Nexi. What they have done, that on their server they have put many kinds of sounds, frequencies, musical frequencies. He has put about 1,25,000 frequencies on his server, and then through a telephone it has connected a device to be close to your body through a wrap. And then all that frequency through the telephone comes and starts healing your body, all those other organs. So it is something wonderful to understand that even in Bible they have mentioned that the Word was made flesh. The God is light, and it had Word, and Word was with him, something like that. There is a narration, and then they explain the Word was made flesh. In our scriptures it is said, Shabde dharti, Shabde akash, Shabad Shabad bhaya prakash. So it is out of that sound, that nada, which created everything. So sound is an area with which while meditating you can see and listen within yourself. If you withdraw your attention to that location which I said, at the center of the head, where 2 optical nerves meet. So there you start listening that, and it gives you that out-of-body experience also. Coherences start coming, as explained by Maharishi Mahesh Yogi also. You have a flying area, because in the astral region you can fly because there is no gravity there, because your question was that. So in the astral region you can fly in the sky also. you feel like that, in your dreams you can do that. But the people who meditate, there are different stages. So we did some research in All India Institute of Medical Sciences on this. So they used about 19 instruments to check an alert mode on you by putting all those instruments on you. Then they did about 40 minutes of relaxed mode readings, and then in deep meditation. So in deep meditation, some of the people had wonderful ecstatic experiences of that happiness, that feeling was there. So a lot of work has been done. I think it needs to be that we should put it all through science and logic, and Balramji is doing something wonderful there. I think this philosophy through science can really take us far away, and it can prove the whole world that what Indian knowledge system has got. Thank you very much.
Firstly, I really didn't understand the meaning of how Ars and Rishi are connected. You said they are connected. How they are connected. How the Ars, the meaning of Ars gets involved into Rishi. Ars. Yeah. How is that Shabdarachana, yeah.
Okay. There is a Rishi basically.
Yeah.
And from Rishi there is an An Pratyaya. Sanskrit asti An Pratyaya. An.
So, let me just argue with you. Because, even what Dr. Bharadwaj is talking about, or whatever I'm talking about, but we just put our meaning to it.
Yes.
So you put Rishi as Arsh is the one which has been some pratyaya or whatever you will add me. I say Ri means Riti. Rit, it means truth. Si means to see.
No,
One
but
who sees the truth. That's just my etymology of Rishi. Without any pratyaya, without any...
yes, it might be a different interpretation, but basically Rishi Shabda is there, and Rit is very different thing. Rit is ultimate truth. That is a different part. And that is not the part of Rishi.
Yeah,
actually.
I know that's according to you, but according to me,
Yes, according to you.
that's Rishi Miri means the truth, Si means somebody who sees it, so that's like a scientist.
Yes, definitely. We can get the meaning, that meaning also.
Yeah, and we do this in all the time, like here we are trying to do, or Jerry is talking about parapsychology, is Bhut Vidya,
Yes.
really.
Mm.
It's Bhut Vidya that you cannot, but things happen, we have no reason why that happens.
Mm.
Basically, psychology is beyond psychology.
Mm.
So
But
you
Bhut
cannot-
Vidya is not basically Bhut, it means which is not existing here basically. Bhut,
No,
it
I'm
means
just
prani.
telling- I'm just telling
Bhut
how
means-
the meaning is deriving.
Okay.
And we have discussions with him about what in science everything is called happening randomly. I just described the gene mutations happen randomly. So they happen randomly, which is almost like Bhut Vidya. Something happens, you have no idea why it's happening. So that's parapsychology, like a science in that sense. So we have different interpretations. So my interpretation of Rishi is somebody who sees even Rit, yeah, it is related to Rit, and then see that the one that see is really for somebody who sees it, somebody who can see it. So how is that then different in terms of ultimate meaning, whatever you are saying, whatever I'm saying?
No, the meaning will be going in a good right track. There is no
Okay.
problem.
Okay.
So
Good
Rishi is also doing that thing,
Okay.
because they are also watching what is the truth basically.
Yeah.
So what you are saying and what the meaning of Rishi is just like same.
Okay.
There is no problem. But the origin of the word is going in a different style.
Yeah,
so
you-
your style is different, and the style from ancient scripture is something different.
Yeah, you heard about the people sleep, deep sleep,
Deep sleep.
REM sleep, and then somebody seeing the snake biting its tail
Mm.
versus somebody seeing relocalization of the electron.
Mhm.
So this always happens. Whatever you see and it means to you, it may mean different to me because we have our own perspectives on it. So that's what I'm trying to say.
Yes.
Maybe it's a good point to collaborate.
Yes, definitely.
Alright,
And
thank
in the ancient time also, Rishiyah mantra dishtaraha. So Rishaya also called mantra drashtar hai, so who sees the actual meaning of the mantra and who sees get the mantras, that is also called Rishaya.
Well, I would like to add a few small little points, as he was talking about telepathy. I would like to say quantum entanglement has already been there, and some kind of a correlation of telepathy, because a mother, tries to make a call to US to her son, and she's asking the father to make a phone call immediately. At the same time, that boy had an accident there, so that correlation was there, and how it really happens, and that's how the mother feels about it. So something more can be done on it.
It's called one theory is called mirroring.
Yeah.
Especially for sons and mothers.
Yeah, it is.
They have the neurons of XY chromosome in mother's brain.
Yeah.
And that's one explanation.
Yeah, can be given to him, and then this can be expanded a little more.
Yeah.
And there are experiences of different saints, the inner experiences. So what I would like to say that from a wakeful state, we enter into a dream first.
Yeah, good thing don't go to deep sleep.
And after the dream, we go to the deep sleep, and after that is Turiyapan, which is fully wakeful state. Body and mind are sowing, and they are sleeping, and you are out of that. So something wonderful happens, in deep meditation to know this experience. That how from a wakeful state you go into a dream, and then you are monitoring yourself. While meditating, you are monitoring what is happening. You are going through a dream, then you are going into deep sleep, and then all of a sudden you are in a Turiyapan, fully wakeful state. And then you go Turiyatit. That's how it is. That's how it is experienced. Thank you.
So, जहाँ पिछला सेशन हमने छोड़ा था यूनिकनेस पे, जो पॉइंट हमें प्रोफेसर सिंह ने दिया था, वही इस सेशन का आधार रहा। मैं समझती हूँ हमारे तीनों ही प्रेजेंटेशंस अपने आप में यूनिक थी। कहीं साइंस की बात थी, लाइक माइंडेडनेस की, टेलीपैथी की, तो कहीं आर्ट्स परंपरा से जोड़कर कॉग्निटिव बायोलॉजी को समझा गया, और कहीं डॉक्टर जेरी जी ने तो अपने हिसाब से एक दूसरी ही दिशा दी, पैरासाइकोलॉजिकल एनालिसिस प्रेजेंट किया. सो वी आर वेरी थैंकफुल टू ऑल द प्रेजेंटर्स, एंड ऑल्सो we are grateful to our honorable chair of this session, Dr. Yamini Tripathi ji. And now I'll like to invite again Tripathi ji to felicitate our speakers along with Professor Balram Singh sir. So, as a director of finance, so and ji. So I first invite Dr. Chand Bharadwaj sir. Chand sir. And I now invite Dr. Ashutosh Parekh ji. And if Jerry ji is looking at us, then we want to offer this memento.
That's
Sir,
okay.
where is the screen?
This is the screen.
Sir, this is case. Sir, please.
I'll take.
Yes.
You'll give it to him.
Yes. Okay. No, but you want to show here on the Zoom.
Yeah, the Jerry should know that you have got it.
Yeah, so that I don't hide it.
Yeah.
This is for Dr. Jerry.
Yes, good. That's right.
And now with this we are concluding this session, and we have like 15 minutes break for the tea and also one group photograph for all the participants outside the campus with the poster. And then session will start after 15 minutes.